Happy Tough Talk Tuesday, everybody. Happy Tough Talk Tuesday. I am excited to be here with you all this evening. We are talking about this is our Mending the Black Man series that we're doing this month. And I'm excited to have the opportunity tonight to do a little bit of teaching. We're going to be talking about soul wounds, what they are, how they make you show up, and how you heal from them, most importantly. I'm Rachel. I am your licensed clinical social worker with RDH Counseling and Consulting, where we help you become your healthiest self. And I'm so excited that you have joined. If you are watching on the replay, put hashtag replay in the chat when you come in. Let me know where you are tuning in from. I want to shout you out. Again, thank you and welcome to another Tough Talk Tuesday. So on Tuesdays, we go out of our way to make sure that we celebrate, we encourage, we motivate, we uplift our men. And the reason we do that is because, as I am sure very many of y'all know, our men are not celebrated often. And so we want to be intentional about celebrating our men. And so Tough Talk Tuesdays is where we do that. And so I thought it was fitting for us to go live this month on Tuesdays to really celebrate them, to give back to them, but to also acknowledge some of the stress, the challenges, the hurdles, the barriers that they face and the things they encounter in life, especially our kings, especially our men of color. So today we're going to be talking about that. As you come in, let me know where you are tuning in from. I want to talk briefly about a few things that we have coming up that I'm really excited about. I want you to stop and share this. I want you to share. We are streaming on LinkedIn, Facebook, and it's another one. Oh, YouTube. So on our YouTube channel, go ahead, like, subscribe, and share this. So I'm going to pause for just a minute so I can share this. And I am hopeful that you will share this as well. So y'all give me a minute. All right. So we are talking about soul wounds tonight. And specifically, we want to talk about what they are, how it impacts you, how you heal from it. But also when we're talking about the way it impacts you, we're looking at how you show up, whether it's in your relationships, whether it's in your family, whether it's at work, in your business, wherever it is, soul wounds have an impact. And specifically for our men, very many of the men that are walking around, research shows us that 1 in 10, and it probably is a little bit more than that now, but 1 in 10 men are dealing with some form of mental health disorder. I want you to think about that, right? Because think about the 10 men that you know. At least one of them is dealing with anxiety, depression, or some other type of mental health concern. And the problem is only half of them actually reach out to get the services and the support that they need. We know the reason for that. Society has been lying to our men for so long and telling them to, and not only society, but other men have picked up the rhetoric. And it says, man up. You got something going on, deal with it. Nobody wants to hear what you got going on. And I've heard those things and it's hurt my heart because when you think about what's really happening is men are being told, 1, you're not a human. 2, you don't have feelings. 3, if you do got feelings, don't nobody care about that. Like what we do? Is that what we do? So I have made it my mission to make sure that men around me, that you know that you are important, that you deserve to be supported, you deserve to be treated well, and you deserve self-care. And so as we're doing our Mending the Black Man series every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard this month, a part of this is connected so that our men can recognize that they have a right to heal. They have a right to express the challenges that they're going through. And we're going to make a safe space for them to be able to do that. October 2nd through the 6th of 2025, we have our 4-day, 4-night men's wellness retreat. You deserve it. All expense paid. We have your meals. You have your King Suites. King Suites first come, first serve. And then after that, it'll be the Queen Suites that are available. But this retreat is we have a masseuse that's going to be able to help you massage, get that wellness going on. In addition to just having a safe space to pause, to rest, and to reflect. It's going to be on the beach, so you're going to nice beach house. But you also are going to have the opportunity to get poured back into. That is most important because a lot of our men have not been poured into. And so, ladies, if you are joining in, this is important for you to think about what role can you play in helping to make sure that the men in your life know that it is safe for them to be able to say, hey, I don't got it all together. Hey, I'm struggling with this, or hey, I'm feeling some kind of way, right? And so if you have your partner or your son or uncle or cousin, and this is a man that you know needs a break, send them on. I'm gonna put the QR code up so y'all can see that. And so if you have someone, if there's a man that you feel like can benefit, needs it, okay, then go ahead and let them know about it. Okay, so this is the link. You can scan the QR code. You can also go to the link there as well. All right, so when we are talking about soul wounds, I kind of want to break that down, right? Because maybe you've never heard that before. If you have heard of a soul wound, put that in the chat because I want to see. Has anybody heard of that concept of a soul wound? So when we're talking about soul wounds, I want you to first understand what your soul is, right? So your soul, as they explain, it's your mind, it's your will, it's your emotions, it's your personality, it's you, it's the I in your body, right? So your physical body encapsulates your soul, your personality, how you think, your feelings, all of that is what we would consider to be your soul, your mind, your will, your emotions, your desires, your personality. And so whenever we have a soul wound, this is really what we're talking about when we're thinking about the impact that trauma has on us. So, trauma is situations, things that have happened that have caused tremendous emotional distress for you. So maybe a loved one died. Maybe you were physically, verbally, emotionally, sexually abused. Maybe you saw someone that you were close to get killed. Maybe that relationship that you were all into, this was the first female that you ever opened up to and said, you know what, I'm gonna let her see all of me. And she turned out to be not a good choice. And that broke you, that crushed you, that traumatized you. And from there, you begin to look at women in a different way. All of those are examples of trauma that can cause soul wounds. And what begins to happen when we think about soul wounds is it begins to reshape the way you think. So even the way your mind processes things and even the way your mind and your brain is wired changes when there is trauma, when there are soul wounds. This is why it's so important for us to understand what soul wounds are, how it impacts us, but then also how we heal, like how we move on from there. And so when we're talking about soul wounds, whatever that thing was, or maybe it was grief. Someone you love died. And so a lot of people that I work with, their grandparents have raised them. And so maybe the person, your soul uh, person that was taking care of you died. And you didn't have a space to grieve, talk about it, process the impact of it. Maybe your mother wasn't there or your father wasn't there. Those father wounds are connected to soul wounds. So when we're talking about your soul, your mind, your will, your emotion, your personality, the way you think about things, all of those can be negatively impacted or harmed. And you can begin to shift and look at things through traumatized lenses. Y'all tracking with me so far? Is it making sense? Y'all put it in the chat. So whenever there is a soul wound, it is going to impact the way you see life. It's going to also impact the way you see you, yourself, and others, and sometimes even the way you see God, depending on what kind of soul wound it is. Okay. In therapy, in the psychological world, in the mental health world, we call those lenses harmful core beliefs. So I want you to think of it like this. These are the lenses that you are looking at life through. And when your soul is wounded, when you have been traumatized, those lenses are going to be cracked, shattered, and dirty based on what it is that happened to you. So if you were to look at yourself, you're going to see it in a very unhealthy way. If you have learned that you are flawed, you are unlovable, whatever other lie you might have started to believe because of what happened to you. So I'm going to take it from the beginning and I want to make it make sense. And I'm just going to use an example. This isn't based on real life, but I want to use this example so y'all can understand how people develop soul wounds, how it creates the lenses that you look at life through, and then why you show up the way you show up, whether it's at work, whether it's in your relationships. And I'm going to talk to you about how you're showing up and why you're showing up exactly as you are. So an individual, let's just say we have a 5-year-old, and this 5-year-old is raised by, his mom and his grandma. Dad is nowhere in the picture. Dad has not been a consistent influence in his life. Dad has, shown up ever so often. Dad has a drug addiction. And so dad was not able to be consistent in his life. And when he did show up, he would make these huge, big promises. I'm going to come get you. I'm going to take you to the game. All of these things, right? And so that 5-year-old begins to be let down, right? Because he has expectations. He's thinking that dad really is going to come through. Dad doesn't do it. Because he's a child, and children, the way their brain is wired and just their developmental stages, they are what we call egocentric. And what that just means is everything to them evolves around them. So if something good happens, I made it happen. I'm the cause of it. If something bad happened, it has to have to be my fault. So as a child, this child then begins to equate his value, his worth based on how dad is treating him, right? So he begins to believe the lie that something must be wrong with me because why else isn't dad here spending time with me, loving on me, doing what I see, all of the other parents do, all of the other dads do with their children. So this child begins to believe lies about himself. That's one example of a harmful core belief. He may begin to believe the lie that he's not good enough, that he's got to prove his value and his worth, that he's not lovable, that something is wrong with him. When that happens, that belief system begins to become a part of his identity. Y'all tracking with me so far? So y'all in class, I'm teaching tonight, and then I'll answer questions if y'all have it. But that child begins to believe the lie that he is bad. Something is wrong with him. He isn't good enough. He is flawed. He doesn't have value. All because of what is happening in his environment. The dad isn't consistent. The dad isn't showing up for him. So that is what he begins to believe about himself. Now, the other thing that happens with trauma and when things have happened to us is not only do we develop these core beliefs about ourselves, but we also develop them about others. And when it starts early, you tend to generalize. So his father wasn't consistent, didn't show up, was not a good father. And so he now begins to generalize it to not only is my father not consistent, I can't trust him, but men. He made them begin to generalize it to men. That men can't be trusted. Men are inconsistent. It's not safe to trust them. It's not safe to rely on them. So we see that situations create the belief systems that people develop over time. You're not born with your belief system, right? You're not born with core beliefs. Over time, though, these beliefs, think of it like this, as seeds. These are seeds that are planted. When things happen, people treat us wrong or treat us good. That is a seed that is being planted, and that seed is going to sprout up into a belief system, whether it's a harmful core belief or a healthy core belief. So this child is now looking at himself in a certain kind of way. He's looking at others in a certain kind of way. On the spiritual side of things, when individuals have father wounds, and we talked last Tuesday, if you didn't get to catch the live, go back and watch it. But last Tuesday, one of the things we briefly talked about was father wounds. And so father wounds are instances that have happened and your father, you were not fathered properly. That's the best and simplest way I can put it. Father wounds occur when we have not been fathered properly. So if your father wasn't consistent, if your father wasn't present, or maybe your father was present, meaning he was in the house, but emotionally, mentally, he was not present. He did not know how to pour into you. Now, the problem with that is because some of the roles of the father is to give identity, is to protect you. And so if you have been fathered improperly, that's going to be an area that's going to impact your core belief, how you see yourself. So if you have not been fathered properly and you struggle with identity, when I say identity, I'm talking about, am I a good person or not? Do I have value or not? Should people appreciate me or not? And so when our kings, our sons, our men have not been fathered properly, that father wound always shows up. I'm going to pause for a second because I want y'all to see exactly what I mean when I say father wounds show up. So I want to pause. I'm not going to stop talking, but I'm going to show something. And I want in the comments you all to look at this and tell me what comes to mind. So when you look at this picture, in the context of father wounds, in the context of soul wounds, what do y'all see in this picture? Go ahead and put it in the chat because I want us to talk a little bit tonight. So when you see this picture, What do you see? Because this is a prime example of a man, a king, who has a soul wound. So y'all put it in the chat. When you see this picture, what do you see? What comes up for you? So you see an adult. You see a grown man, right? And he's looking in the mirror. And so when we're talking about a man that is looking in the mirror and he sees looking back, what? There's a little boy that is scared, that is crying, right? And so when we're thinking and talking about soul wounds, this is why it's so important for us to talk about it, to help our men heal, but also to understand these are the impact that soul wounds have. Yeah, listen. And that is important that you pick that up. A lot of people don't see that. Whenever I do trainings and talk about this picture, the tattoo on his arm is of a child crying. Yes, yes. Look at, did y'all notice that? Right? And so people get tattoos often as a reflection of themselves, of something that it is connected with them. And so we have, and it's interesting because even the tattoo looks to be a younger, maybe a toddler, whereas the boy in the mirror looks to be about, what's 5, 6, 7. And so what we see is this is a man who on the inside is still an insecure, scared little boy who has dealt with some types of trauma, probably father wounds. And so this is why when we think about what this soul wound is, this is how it shows up. A lot of individuals over the years that I've worked with, I will ask them, hey, how old are you? And they'll tell me their age, right? 30, 40, 50. And then as we begin to talk and unpack things, the question I ask again is, how old psychologically are you, right? Because a lot of people who have soul wounds, a fragment, pieces of them remain stuck in the age that the trauma took place. And so, yes, this looks like a big grown, maybe in his 40s, he looked like maybe 40, 50 years old biologically. But what we have is a little hurt individual that really is what shows up in relationships when it comes time to make decisions in the family. We don't have the man making those decisions. Instead, what we have is the little boy that gets triggered at certain times. And those times are times that remind him of the last time. The last time daddy didn't show up. The last time I opened up my heart and it got broken. Does that make sense? So, as we're talking about soul wounds and understanding what they are, we also are unpacking how trauma creates the soul wound and how it impacts the way you see yourself, the way you see others, and also the way you see God. And so, when you have a father wound, you're struggling with your identity, you haven't had someone to protect you, you the impact or the relationship that you had with your biological father oftentimes gets connected to how you see God. So I want you to think about that. The relationship that you had or did not have with your biological father directly reflects to how you see, how you perceive, and engage with your heavenly father. And so if your father wasn't there, it's going to be really hard to trust a God you can't see. A father, first off, if a father has not been a space and a place of safety, and then you got somebody telling I'm your heavenly father, that might not be such a positive experience. And so trauma directly impacts your soul, which is your mind, your will, your emotions, your desires, your personality. Trauma directly impacts that and it causes those soul wounds. And so once that takes place, once there's a soul wound, you now are looking at yourself, others, in the world through cracked, dirty, traumatized lenses. Now, the reason why it's problematic, right? To be looking at life through dirty lenses is because you will tend to misinterpret what's happening to you and around you. To you, around you, for you. You will misinterpret it. Think about this. You got these glasses, they dirty, and you trying to see across the street, trying to see what's happening. All right? How clearly are you going to be able to see what's happening and get the full picture? Yeah, you're not. You're going to scramble. You're probably going to get it wrong. And so what happens is those lenses become the way you look at life, you interpret life in the way you think. I hope y'all are tracking with this because I'm kind of teaching just so that you can understand. When we do our men's wellness retreat, this is what the men are going to get. We're going to personally look at each one of the men and help them to see the direct connection for them so that they can understand why they're showing up the way they are. We want to help them heal, and then we want to help them to be able to do things differently. But if you don't know what trauma and the soul wound and the way it's impacting you're gonna keep going through life doing what you've been doing, getting what you've been getting. So when we're talking about the way you now start to think, your thought life is now impacted by soul wound. And so for that boy we talked about, he don't trust people. You can't trust people. That is the pattern of thinking that he has. That's the belief system, which then leads into the way he thinks. And so when good people come and try to help him, how's he going to see them? Right? Is he going to interpret their actions as helpful? Or is he going to say, they out to get me? I can't trust them. They're not going to be dependable. I can't trust nobody. I'm going to do it all on my own. And so if he's having those thoughts, if he's interpreting their behavior that way, and he's having what we call cognitive distortions having to do with your thinking. I'm sorry, your cognitive distortions. Cognitions is your thinking. And then distortions just mean, yo, this ain't right. It's twisted, it's off, it's skewed. And so you will begin to have certain patterns of thoughts. So maybe you jump into conclusions, everybody out to get you. Or maybe you are assuming that people are thinking the worst about you. Or maybe you're doing what we call the shoulds, right? The shoulds are when we have if that's you've ever done a should, woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? They should know better. He should know better. She shouldn't be doing that. I should be further ahead than I am. Those shoulds are distorted thinking. That's a distortion in your thoughts because shoulds They're problematic because these are expectations that we have for other people that a lot of times either you haven't verbalized it, you just have it in your mind and you like, so if you're in a relationship, right? And you have in your mind the way this thing should go, she should just come home and cook. When he gets home, he should just be available for me to pour on him and dump on him. Because that's how you have it in your mind, but you have not expressed that to your partner. It's going to cause problems because it's an expectation that you have not verbalized. And so very many people are, and today we're talking about our kings. And so for our kings, you may be finding yourself frustrated all the time because you have expectations of other people that you haven't communicated. Or the other part of that, which is you have expectations of people, these unwritten rules that may not line up with reality. And this is the example that I use to help break down what that means. Would you, yes or no, y'all put it in the chat, would you ask a 5-year-old to make you a gourmet meal? Yes or no? Put it in the chat. Would you ask a 5-year-old, if you were hungry, to make you a gourmet meal? I want you to get in the kitchen. I'm hungry. Go ahead, make me something to eat. Would you do that? Yes or no? And if you say yes, tell me why. And if you say no, tell me why. I'm going to wait just a few seconds because I want y'all to put this in the chat. Yes or no, would you ask a 5-year-old to cook you a gourmet meal? Now, if you said no, I want to know why. And I know it sounds like a really ridiculous question to ask. He's like, no, I wouldn't ask a 5-year-old to cook. First off, I would not tell a 5-year-old I was hungry at all, because what are they going to do for me? And two, I certainly would not ask them and expect them to make me a gourmet meal because they don't know how to cook. Most 5-year-olds don't. Not only do they not know how to cook, they don't have the experience, they don't have the training, they also don't have the dexterity. So think about using a knife, right? You have to have motor skills, fine motor skills that a 5-year-old may not have. Not unless it's a Fisher Price kitchen with fake food. No, thank you. They are not equipped with the knowledge or tools or safety or quality standards to make me a meal. Those little hands are little dirty hands. And that's the other thing. We wouldn't ask them because they don't even have the knowledge about sanitary practices, right? Now, that is clear, cut, and dry. We would not ask a 5-year-old to do any cooking for all of those reasons. So for us to ask them to do something that they are not equipped to do, if we ask them and they bring us, either they say no, they break down because they don't know how to do it, or they bring us a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. What is your reaction and response going to be? Are you going to be pissed? Are you going to be mad with them? Are you going to be frustrated and feel let down and disappointed? Or are you going to check yourself? Because why am I asking a 5-year-old to do something they don't know how to do? More than likely, you're going to be frustrated with you because you knew, that they don't know what they're doing. Well, this is what happens in real world. We sometimes are having expectations, the shoulds, of people. We want them to do things that they may not be equipped to do. And so for some, especially again, I'm talking to our men, but queens, I want you to hear this as well. How many times have you shown up in a relationship with an individual that isn't healthy enough to show up the way you would like them to show up? And so we wanting individuals, people to show up and to do things. Now, this is the other part that I want you to think of. If you have a soul wound and you see yourself really as this little boy, and you get into a relationship, this is why it's so important for us to heal before we connect. Now, it's important, it doesn't always happen, but I want you to hear what's happening. I want you to see how many times, okay, do we get into relationships, but you're in relationships based on the need of this little boy. I want you to think about that. Because if you have not healed from a soul wound, then that little boy is there, that little girl is there, and they are the ones running the show. So they're the ones choosing your partner. You got a kid choosing your life partner. And that child is making a decision based on their level of emotional need. This is why we have to heal. This is why it's so important for us to understand soul wounds, how they're created, and how they are currently impacting you. Woo, I see where you're going with this message, and I'm guilty of having expectations that people are not. Listen, and you're not the only one. Ain't no judgment. Listen, we learn, but we say we listen and we don't judge. We ain't judging, we learning, right? And so when we are talking about soul wounds and the way it impacts us, we need to know it impacts every single part of you. So your emotional health, your mental health, your spiritual health, your sexual health, your financial health, all of you, all of the pieces of you are impacted. I hear people say, that happened a long time ago. I'm good. No, you're not. Because, and y'all have heard me describe it this way before. Trauma is like when trauma happens to you, it's like stepping on pieces of glass with no suit, no shoes, no socks on. So that glass is just going in, it's penetrating you, and it's causing pain. Now, some of us have gotten so good at masking pain and numbing ourselves that you don't necessarily feel the pain. But guess what's still happening? Each time you step on that piece of glass, you have not taken the time to sit down and pull it out. Each time you step on that piece of glass, it may not hurt in the moment, but understand it is doing damage. Not only is it doing damage to you, but I want you to think about those you are connected to, right? So to the kings, those that may be struggling with your identity, knowing that you're valuable, knowing that you're good enough. If you're struggling in that area, oftentimes in your relationships, I'll start there, you're going to show up as insecure. So on one hand, you might be jealous, you might be overly aggressive, you might be clingy, right? You might be really needy. You don't really love me, and needing the person to consistently and constantly affirm you and that they do love you. On the other hand, right, the other side of that coin, sometimes our men, when they are struggling in their identity because they were not properly fathered, they work hard to get others to believe that they're valuable. So they have attached and assigned value with what I've got. So they go out here to get jewelry, they get the cars. I got to have as many women. And yet none of that is filling the void, because at the bottom of the void is the lie that you're never going to be good enough. And so think about the movie stars we see, right, that have committed suicide. They have everything. But what we're looking at is there is a void, and there at the bottom of that void is the lie about their value, about their identity. That's what we're really talking about. And so in relationships, it may be hard for you to connect. You might be in a relationship and you know she loves you, but you like, nah, I ain't really. Y'all don't talk like that, but I don't know why I started talking. I don't know why I started talking like that, but it may be hard for you to connect on an emotional level. Because for some people, some men, the lie of I'm not good enough. I don't deserve to have this kind of relationship. So you might find yourself, and this is something I want you to think about. Do you find yourself feeling inadequate in your relationship? She probably need to be with somebody else. I ain't good enough for her. That's one of the ways that lets you know that you might be dealing with a soul wound, that there's healing that's needed, that there's an identity crisis happening at work. Soul wounds impact the way you show up at work. It's promotion time. But yet you feel inferior. You have the complex that says, I'm an imposter. I don't really know what I'm doing. They're going to find out I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not as good as everybody else. You make a decision and it's hard for you to stick with it. You struggle with making decisions. All of those are indicators that you might be dealing with an identity crisis, which is connected to a soul wound that happened as a result of trauma. Does it make sense so far? Any questions? I know that was a lot, but I wanted to kind of take time to help break it down, because for some of y'all, you may never have heard it broken down like that. Any questions? Is it making sense? So now that we've kind of talked about, and go ahead and put your comments in the put your questions in the comments, and even if you do replay, I'll come back and I'll answer. I'll look at the questions and answer them. Now that we kind of have a better understanding about soul wounds, about how trauma impacts it, how it shows up when you show up, I want to talk about how we heal, right? How we can help our men heal. We're talking about mending the Black man. Because men, we need you. Not only do we need you, right? But we need you all to be able to show up as your healthiest, secure self. And so when we talk about this, let the kings arise, the wellness retreat, that really is what we're wanting to do, is to help our kings arise. And many of y'all, I won't say many, but there are some of y'all who you don't really believe you're a king. Well, maybe you've never heard it. Maybe all you've ever heard was you ain't gonna be nothing. You just like your daddy, you whatever. And so when we're talking about this Let the Kings Arise wellness retreat, it really is designed to help you see you in a different way, the right way. We want to help you clean those lenses. We want to help you fix those lenses. And so a huge part of the healing process is first identifying. And I'm going to show this picture again because I want to kind of go a little bit deeper into how we begin to help our men, our kings, transition from the little boy that we see, and really it's the child that we see, to how do we help heal the young man that we see, really the young king, and how do we get the king to see himself the correct way. That is a huge part of the healing process. And so, what I get to do, and one of the things that I will be doing at the retreat, is meeting individually with the kings, right? But also us processing and understanding what has happened. So, that's us taking the time to look at the bottom of our feet to see what kind of glass is in there, how far up it's gone, what damage has it done, and then give yourself permission to begin to slowly pull these pieces out, because we need you all to show up. Your family needs you, your community needs you, your heavenly father needs you. Listen, when we're talking about the church, that's the other piece, right? When you're looking at your spiritual health, we have a lot of men that aren't in the church because there is a lot of dysfunction. There's a lot of areas that need to be healed because we need men to be leading. Y'all are designed and created to lead. But if the little boy is in the driver's seat, honey, how can you lead me if you can't lead yourself? And a child is very impulsive. A child, scripture tells us, when I was a boy, a kid, a child, I thought as a child. I behaved as a child. But when I got older, we put aside. So there is a distinction between the mind of a child and the mind of a man, of an adult. And so it is, we need our kings. We need you, men. And so I want to applaud the men who are brave enough to do the work. And I want to say thank you to the men that let me partner with them. Man, my men, I love my men. For the last 2 to 3 years, I have been working with men. I've been doing the groups and just the one-on-one. And I'm honored to partner with them and help them go from the little boy in the mirror to the full-grown man that walks in confidence, who feels competent and is empowered to lead themselves first, to lead their families, and really are able to stand up as the men, as the soldiers, as the kings and the priests of their household. But healing begins with you acknowledging, yeah, man, I got some stuff I need to work on and work through. And so then we give the little boy the opportunity to be heard. Because for so long, the little person on the inside has been told, shut up, suck it up, I don't want to hear it. And this is not just for men, this is also for women. We have been taught to just be quiet, to stuff it down, right? To go along, to get along. And the whole time, the person inside is like, ah. And that's why every time there's conflict, that little person comes out. And for some of y'all, it's a teenager. You're a grown woman, but that teenager comes out and honey, you can't tell her nothing. And they be like, yo, why you doing all, you ain't got to do all this, sis. It's because you're not in control. It's the little you that's been triggered. It's the traumatized version of you that's been triggered. And so for those of y'all who are saying, listen, I need to get healed. I need to get myself together so that I can, one, be disciplined and lead myself, and then be able to lead your family, to be able to lead those that you are called to lead. It's time. It's time. It's time. And you know it's time. You've been putting it off, but that little thing on the inside of you is like, please, we need to do this. It's time. So if this is for you, take it, chew on it. What is it that resonated with you? Feel free to put it in the comments. What was it that made most sense to you? How will you use this little bit of what we've talked about? Um, and how are you going to challenge yourself to do differently? Ah, what you gonna do? So I want to challenge us. I want to encourage our men. We love you. Happy Tough Talk Tuesday. We want you to know that you matter to us. We see you. You are important. You're valuable. We love you. And we want you to show up in your most healthiest self, as your most healthiest self, because we need you. I know society be lying and talk about, you're not important, you're not valuable, but the truth of the matter is you are, and we need you. So on the screen, y'all are seeing the QR code for our men's wellness retreat. I am excited to be able to offer that to our men. Because when I tell you, listen, if you don't work with men, you don't know. But a lot of our men are going through so much and they don't have safe spaces. And it's not fair. They have to, they feel like they have to hold everything in. Do you know what that does to a person when you are holding everything in? And then we wonder why our men are out here busting and popping, right? Because you keep putting air into a balloon, eventually it pops. And for different people, popping and bursting is different. For some people, it's violence. For other people, it's drugs and alcohol. For some men, it is sex, pornography, and so many of our men get caught up in things like pornography because they don't have safe spaces to process, to talk about things. Some of our men have dealt with abuse of all kinds, sexual abuse included, and they never have had the safe space to talk about it, to work through it. And it's impacting their identity and how they see themselves. And so for some of our men, they are hypersexualized. Every time, all they want to talk about is sex, trying to get, sir, come get this healing. And so we are creating a men's wellness retreat where our men can come, they can be poured into, they can pause, they can reset, they can not only get poured into, but they can also have a safe space to process, talk about some stuff, work through some stuff. Because that's important. And not only is it important, they deserve it. So, ladies, for the queens that are watching this, thank you for watching this. Share this. And in the comments, what you all will see are some links. So, if you have a husband, a partner, a brother, a cousin, a coach that you know, a man in your life, a king in your life that you know needs a safe space to be able to work through some things, process some things, or just needs a break. Like, this is a good man. He out here. He's out here working. He's coaching other people's kids. Maybe he is a pastor. So November the 10th through the 13th, we have our Shepherd's Retreat for pastors. Because our pastors, Lord Jesus, they need support. And so for the men, for the queens that have men that are burnt out, they just, you saying to them, why y'all not talking? Why you not talking to me? What's up? I know I can tell you about it. I can tell you got something on your mind. They do. And they need to learn how to be able to see you as a safe space again. But they also need a safe space to get off their chest how they're feeling. Sign them up for this. If you have an organization or a business, or you're an individual who wants to sponsor, you want to partner with us, we have 4 sponsorship tiers. Go ahead and do that. Get your name out there. And then if you just want to donate, you want to make sure that a deserving man is able to take the break he needs. The link is in the comments as well. So any questions before we end for tonight? And this was good. This was needed. This was necessary for individuals to learn about what soul wounds are and how it's impacting our kings. And not only how it's impacting and why you're showing up the way you are. And for some, it's you're inconsistent. You go hard for a week, and then after that, you're like, man, forget about it. It's because you're dealing with an identity crisis. And for some, when you think about father wounds, fathers really teach discipline. A healthy father is able to teach discipline. And when our young kings learn that at an early age, it transfers with them as they grow up. But if you haven't had a father, you don't understand discipline. You may not. Now you may have had a father figure, so that is excellent. And maybe you had a coach that was able to, especially if you played sports, you learned to appreciate leadership and discipline. But if you didn't have that, if you were not blessed to have that, you may find it difficult to show up and to show up consistently. Okay. So say all that to say, kings, we love you. We see you. You matter to us. You matter to God. You are on his heart, which is one of the reasons why I put this thing on, because I'm like, okay, God, can you stop talking to me about these? He loves y'all, and he is concerned about your well-being. He wants to make sure that you are healed, you're healthy, you're whole. And I said yes to God. I said, okay, if this is what you want me to do, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna put it out there. So for our men, we love you. Be blessed. For our queens that are supporting our men, hats off to you. Continue to do it. If you need to grow and heal, we're going to be having probably in December. We are going to be starting our Love Like You've Never Been Hurt Before program. And that specifically is for women who are looking, you're ready to get into a relationship, or maybe you just got into one, but you like, oh, I don't know how to connect with my man on an emotional level. It's hard. The whole soft life. You struggle with that. This is the program for you. If you find that your mouth be mouthing. This is the program for you. How can we convince a man to go to conference who has never been to any conference or counseling? Excellent question. Next year, probably we'll have the conference. This specifically is a wellness retreat, but it has sessions. So it's a miniaturized version, right? Because the conference could be like, right? So this is a wellness retreat. So you would explain and kind of break it down for him. If y'all go on the website, he gets to see what it's going to be like. So really less of a conference and more of a retreat. This is a place where he gets to go for 4 days, 4 nights. He gets to relax. He's going to have a king suite. He wait too long, he'll have a queen suite on the beach, right? So be able to relax. It's got an indoor pool table. Like, yo, you just get to kick it with some fellas. Chef, gonna get a massage. And then we got some sessions. And the session's gonna get them right? So come on out here, get your relaxation on. Be able to pause, right? Take a break. You don't have to worry about being a father, a partner, husband, coach, none of that. You just get to come be you. We're going to pour into you though. Right. And then when he leaves, he's also going to be able to we have a, Eddie White. He was up here last week. He does the strategic thinking and goal planning. So for our men, that's like, listen, yo, I'm trying to get ahead. I want to open this business. I want to, whatever it is, he going to help you get right. So when you present it that way, less of a conference. Next year, they can come to the conference. We're going to probably do a summit in a little bit as well. But less of a conference and more of a retreat. That makes sense? That's a really good question too. Yeah. Yeah. And the early bird special is going on now. Okay. Going on now. It ends the end of this month. We got payment plans so they can break it down like that. But tell them go on the page on the website. Letthekingsarise.com. And yeah. Letthekingsarise.com. And he can go up there, kind of see what it's about. But it's going to be fun. When they check in on that Monday, whatever the 10th is, they're going to check in. We're going to have game night, eat, play games, play some pool, some spades. Now, I don't play spades. I don't know how to play it, but they can do it. And, just lay back, kick back. And then that next day, I said Monday, but I take that back. I apologize. They're checking in on that Thursday. And games, fun. Then Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, I think I got the days right. But it's a time for them to relax, a time they can meet the other fellas that are going to be there, build that bond, that brotherhood, because that's going to be important, right? For our men to be able to connect with other healthy-minded individuals. You'll be surprised, but a lot of men don't really, they want positive people, but they don't know how to connect. So this wellness retreat allows them to do that. So good, excellent question. All right, I am jumping off. Y'all be blessed. I'm going to pray us out. Father, I thank you for your kings. I thank you for every single man, Father God, because you see them, you know them, you love them. They are important to you. They matter to you. And I don't care if they had a father figure in their life or not. You desire to give them a corrective experience when it comes to fatherhood. And so I thank you for your sons. I thank you for this opportunity, God, that you've given me to pour into them. I thank you and I speak blessings over everyone that is watching. I thank you for your daughters that are up here that you love so much and that they mean a lot to you, Father. I pray for healing over the men and the women and protection over our children as the systems have started. I pray protection and healing. And I thank you that your kings, your sons are arising, that they are being healed, that they are healthy and they are whole in Jesus' name. Y'all be blessed. Y'all take care. And I'll see you next Tuesday for another Mending the Black Man series. Every Tuesday in this month at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to go live next week. I'm going to have my co-host coming back, Eddie White. He is going to be also partnering with me at the retreat. So he's got some really good stuff that we're going to be talking about. And for the men, share this. For the ladies, share this. And we'll see you next week. Same time, same bat channel. Y'all take care.